The most expensive mistake people are still making in 2026 is believing that the price of education and the value of education are the same thing. They're not. Somewhere in the last decade, a quiet inversion happened. Degrees became more expensive, more prestigious, It didn't announce it. There was no press conference. It just moved on. And most people didn't notice until the invoices showed up and the salaries didn't. That's what this video is about. Not not hustle culture, not drop out and get rich. This is about incentives, about where money actually flows now, about which skills sit closest to revenue, leverage, and decision-making power in 2026, and why those skills are quietly outturning entire degree paths. Because right now, two people can walk into the same city with the same intelligence, the same work ethic, the same ambition. One has a framed degree. The other has a specific, uncomfortable skill. One will struggle to negotiate a salary. The other will name a number and wait. The difference isn't talent. It's position in the system. Here's the uncomfortable setup. For most of the 20th century, degrees worked because they were scarce. They acted as filters. If you had one, you were statistically more productive, more disciplined, or at least more compliant. Employers didn't need to know what you could do. The degree acted as a proxy, but proxies only work when they're rare. By 2026, degrees are no longer rare. In many countries, they're the default. Entire generations were told the same thing at the same time, followed the same path, took on the same debt, and graduated into the same overcrowded funnel. Meanwhile, the economy itself changed shape. Companies flattened. Automation ate routine work. Software replaced middle layers. AI didn't eliminate jobs, it compressed them. Fewer people now sit closer to outcomes, and those positions pay disproportionately well. So the market stopped paying for credentials. It started paying for leverage. Leverage is the ability for one person's actions to move a lot of value. Degrees don't automatically give you leverage anymore. Specific skills do. And the highest paid skills in 2026 share one trait. They sit directly between a decision and a result. Let's start with the first one. Sales, engineering, and revenue architecture. This isn't old school sales. This isn't smiling, cold calling, or persuasion tricks. This is the ability to understand a technical product deeply enough to translate it into revenue. 2. Bridge engineers and buyers to design pricing, onboarding demos, and contracts that actually close. In 2026, companies don't lose money because their product is bad. They lose money because customers don't understand it, don't trust it, or don't adopt it fast enough. The person who fixes that problem sits dangerously close to cash flow. Sales engineers routinely outturn senior developers, not because they're smarter, but because they reduce friction between product and payment. Their work is measurable. Either revenue moves or it doesn't. No degree teaches this, and it's learnt inside systems, under pressure, with consequences. And that's why companies pay for it. Second, systems automation and AI workflow design. Not AI prompt writing. Not tool collecting, actual automation. The ability to look at a business and say, this process is slow, fragile, expensive, and mostly human, out of habit. Then rebuild it using APIs, AI agents, scripts, and decision trees. In 2026, Every company knows AI exists. Almost none have integrated it cleanly. They're drowning in tools that don't talk to each other. Their employees copy-paste between platforms all day. The person who removes that friction doesn't save time. They change margins. Automation specialists aren't paid for code. They're paid for outcome compression. Taking something that takes 10 people 10 hours and turning it into one system that runs silently. This skill doesn't come with a diploma. It comes with broken systems, failed attempts, and ugly prototypes that eventually work. And once you can do it once, you can do it anywhere. Third, regulatory navigation and compliance engineering. This one surprises people. In 2026, regulation hasn't slowed innovation. It's accelerated the value of people who understand it. Every new technology creates every rule creates bottlenecks. And every bottleneck creates opportunity for someone who can translate complexity into permission. Think fintech, health tech, crypto infrastructure, data privacy, cross-border payments, AI governance. The people who understand how laws, incentives, and systems intersect become not lawyers in the traditional sense. Translators, architects, fixers. Companies don't pay them because they love regulation. They pay them because without them, nothing ships. Degrees in law or policy help, but they're not the reason these people earn more. The reason is applied understanding, knowing which rule actually matters, which doesn't, and how to design around constraints without crossing lines. This is a skill that compounds quietly. Then, fourth, applied cybersecurity and risk mitigation. Not ethical hacking theater. Not certifications stacked on LinkedIn. Actual defensive thinking. In 2026, breaches aren't rare events. They are expected costs. The question is not if something breaks, but how fast you detect it and how little it costs you. The people who can model threats, understand system weaknesses, and design resilience are not overhead. They are insurance that actually works. And here's the uncomfortable part. Companies trust people who have been burned. Real cybersecurity skill often comes from failure, from systems that were compromised, from incidents that cost money. That experience is worth more than any classroom. Degrees can't simulate panic. Fifth, capital allocation and financial modeling in uncertain systems. This isn't accounting. This is judgment under ambiguity. In a world where interest rates shift, supply chains wobble, and AI changes cost structures overnight, the ability to allocate capital intelligently becomes rare. People who can answer questions like, should we invest now or wait? Build or buy? Hire or automate? Expand or consolidate? These decisions don't come from formulas alone. They come from understanding incentives, second-order effects, and timing. Many of the highest-paid operators in 2026 never studied finance formally. They learned by managing real constraints, running budgets, missing forecasts, making trade-offs with consequences. They're paid because they reduce catastrophic mistakes. Sixth, audience, monetization, and distribution. Strategy, not content creation, not influencer branding, distribution. In 2026, attention is still scarce, but platforms are saturated. The value isn't in creating quantity, it's in converting attention into durable income streams. The people who understand funnels, pricing, psychology, retention, mechanics, and platform risk sit behind the scenes. They design systems where audiences turn into customers without burning trust. This skill pays because it compounds. A single distribution insight can scale across products, markets, and years. Degrees in marketing often lag reality by a decade. Markets don't wait. Now, here's where the math gets uncomfortable. Most agree. Pass front load, cost and backload. Value. You pay first. You wait. You hope the market still wants what you learn by the time you graduate. Skills front load friction and backload leverage. You struggle early. You look unqualified. You fail publicly. But once the system trusts you, the upside is non-linear. That's why these skills pay more. Not because degrees are useless, but because degrees sit upstream from value. Skills sit downstream, and money flows downstream. There's a public story and a private reality here. The public story says, education is the safe path. The private reality is that safety depends on how close you are to money, risk, or decisions. Degrees used to be a shortcut to those positions. Now they're often a detour. This doesn't mean the system is fair. It means the system is literal. It rewards what reduces uncertainty, accelerates outcomes, or protects capital. Everything else is negotiable. Here's the long-term implication most people miss. As more people chase skills instead of credentials, the skills themselves will entry-level versions will flood. Surface-level competence will be automated. The people who win won't be the ones who learned a skill. They'll be the ones who learned how systems behave under pressure. Because that's the final layer. The highest paid people in 2026 don't just do tasks. They understand consequences. They know what breaks first. They know where incentives collide. They know what happens when something scales. That knowledge isn't taught. It's absolved. And here's the unresolved question this leaves us with. If the market no longer rewards preparation, only proximity to outcome. If credentials no longer signal value, only history does. If leverage matters more than effort, then what happens to an entire generation trained to wait for permission before acting? Because the system isn't asking for proof of learning anymore. It's asking for proof of impact. And it's asking right now.